Hi everybody, I'm Sam Pfeifle. I'm the editor of SPARPoingGroup.com. Thanks you all for coming. This week for the video blog, we're thinking back 10 years ago to September 11, 2001, as many people throughout the United States and throughout the rest of the world are. Everybody's got a story about it. At the time, I was a young newspaper editor, and I remember it was a Tuesday, and I was readying a newspaper that was going to have a story about oysters on the cover. And I think to myself how absurd it would have been to have this thing about eating Maine-based oysters while everybody was talking about the attacks on the World Trade Center the next day. And it was really one of the high points of my career that I could cover an event like that and help our community think and talk about an event that really dominated conversation for the next 6 months to a year. And as I was looking back on it now with this 3D lens that we have here at SPAR, some of you may have seen the blog post I put up last week about lidar as art. And that came because I found that the Woodward Gallery in Manhattan has a show that's going to run this month called Charting Ground Zero, 10 Years After. And part of that exhibition is the lidar imagery that the USGS captured of the Trade Center site before 2001, and then the lidar data that the first responders captured after the event. And there's really not much that brings the point home of the damage that was done of seeing that 3D real-life data before and after. And for some reason, more than any photographs, it really drove home just the impact of what had happened. And then so I started going around online, and you'll see that lots and lots of people are using 3D to try to make sense of and try to remember the importance of these attacks and to commemorate and help people really sort of deal with their feelings about it. And one of the coolest videos that I came across is this one right here. And you can see that David Munson has done a 3D triptych where he has the before, the directly after, and then the 3D image of the new Trade Center site as it's going to eventually look and feel. And what's really cool about what he's done is he's actually captured the data, modeled it, layered on the photographs, and he's actually printed it out. What's spinning there is a 3D printout that he did on a Z-Corp Spectrum Z510. So he's really sort of created something tangible to help him with his commemorating and how important it was to him since he was New York based at the time. But there's all kinds of other 3D tributes. For instance, you can get a 3D tour of the 9/11 memorial, right? Someone has done the geometry and done the modeling and it actually gives you a fly-through of what that memorial is going to look like. Or I found this other one, which is a time lapse of the construction. I actually have two of them. This one right here that you'll see, they've kind of got Google Maps layered as the foundation, and then they build up in modeling how the construction is going to happen for the new site. Or this second video that I found actually has an animation of the time lapse of how the building is actually going to be put together with all the pipes and something that is probably being used by the architects for it's probably their BIM actually, and someone has kind of co-opted that and turned it into a little piece of art. And I just think it's really interesting that people seem to be drawn to this 3D, and I think it has implications for the industry as a whole. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we doing 3D data capture? It's because we're really trying to capture reality, and we're trying to bridge that gap between what we're creating and designing in software and the real world. And I think that people are drawn to that. They want to be connected and grounded with the real world as they're looking at something digital. And I just think this, as we think back on September 11, 2001, is a really interesting time to think about the value of what we're doing as we're doing 3D data capture. And I hope that these images and these videos get you thinking as well. And also just thinking about how we can use this 3D data in different ways to connect with people. Because I think like with photography and like with music, 3D data is a form of art, and art can be really emotionally impactful with people. So just a little something to think about as many of us are thinking 10 years back. I'm Sam Pfeifle. I'm the editor of SPARPoingGroup.com, and thank you so much for watching today.